At times, amidst all the noise and worries of the world, we find ourselves sitting silently alone, not to do anything, but simply to think. To think about the past that has gone by, about the things we missed, about the words we never got to say, the mistakes we have yet to correct. Sometimes we sit thinking about the future, about the things that might come, about choices still waiting at uncertain crossroads, about fragile relationships that seem to dissolve like mist. And then we find our hearts exhausted. The more we think, the more entangled we become. The more our thoughts repeat themselves, the more distant we feel from the inherent peace within our true nature. Some things, no matter how much we think about them, cannot be changed. Some matters become even more tangled the more we analyze them. There are worries that only grow larger the more we cling to them, like waves swelling until they wash away our clarity and inner stillness. People often mistake thinking too much for depth, but on the spiritual path, excessive thinking without mindfulness is one of the greatest sources of suffering. The Blessed One taught clearly that delusive thoughts are like a torrential stream. If we don't know how to stop, we will be swept away endlessly in the cycle of rebirth. In many cases, thoughts don't arise from wisdom, but from worry, doubt, fear, and the desire to control what cannot be controlled. Some people suffer from chronic insomnia because of thinking. Others fall into despair for the same reason. And there are those who torment themselves with things that are not real, scenarios that have never happened. Thinking that is not grounded in right view, right mindfulness, and right thought is merely a stream of unanchored mental movements that drain our life force and rob us of vitality in the present. Buddhist practitioners are not forbidden to think, but are taught to contemplate in accordance with the Dhamma, to illuminate every phenomenon with the light of wisdom. Not everything requires deep thought, and not everything needs to be thoroughly explained. Some things are better met with a simple smile. Some stories are meant to be seen once, then left behind without turning back. Thinking too much only burdens the heart. A wise person knows what is worth looking into deeply and what is better allowed to drift away like a passing cloud across the sky. In daily life, when we notice our minds caught in endless thought loops, instead of sitting still and letting them carry us away, let us gently rise and do something concrete. Wash a dish, sweep a small space, water the plants, fold a shirt, or simply take a mindful walk. When the body is present in each movement, the mind will find a place to rest. And in that moment, we are no longer controlled by the past or future, but dwell peacefully in the present moment, like a traveler who finds a quiet shelter in the midst of a long journey.
For practitioners, if there is no tangible task to support meditative stability, it's easy to be led away by delusive thoughts. Like someone carrying a full bowl of water through a bustling market. Without mindfulness, just one careless moment and the water will spill. So when the mind is in turmoil, there is no need to analyze the issue, and even less reason to blame oneself. Just return to a simple, wholesome action and allow the mind to dwell within each breath, each step. Some may ask, if we don't think, then how can we resolve the issues we face in life? The truth is, solutions do not arise from how much we think, but from the quality of our mindfulness. When the mind is still, wisdom becomes clear. When the mind is agitated, no amount of thinking can lead to resolution. Some problems are only resolved when we stop struggling and learn to release them in understanding. Some knots are only untied when we sit deeply, breathing in and out in calm abiding, and realize that the nature of all phenomena is impermanence, dependent origination, and the absence of a fixed self. Time does not pause to wait for us to finish thinking through something. It also does not return so we can correct what has passed. Each moment that slips away is a piece of life lost. Each breath taken without mindfulness is a missed opportunity. We are only truly alive when the mind is fully present in reality. Otherwise, all moments spent in delusion, regret, or fear are merely the physical existence of a body without a soul. Therefore, if we understand that time is finite, we will not waste it on things unworthy. If we understand that impermanence is present in every moment, we will no longer doubt how we should live. The wise are those who treat each day as if it were their last gift. They cherish those beside them as if tomorrow they may not meet again. They listen to their own hearts so as not to lose direction by following the crowd. They choose to live simply, purely, and peacefully, rather than be swept away by the noisy currents of illusory thoughts. A day in the life of one who truly practices does not need to be long, but it must be filled with deep presence in each action. A life lived with mindfulness need not achieve many outer accomplishments, yet each moment becomes a blossoming Dharma flower within the heart. When we stop chasing what cannot be grasped, we begin to see how beautifully simple life truly is. When we think less, we begin to hear the birds outside the window, see the silhouette of our father sitting by the door, notice the quiet gaze of our mother watching her child, and feel the warmth of an afternoon cup of tea. Those seemingly mundane things may turn out to be what we miss the most once they're gone. In one discourse, the Buddha once told the bhikkhus, "Whoever can keep their mind as still as a calm lake will see reflected the moon of wisdom. If the lake is disturbed by the wind of wandering thoughts, then even the bright moon cannot be clearly reflected."
Likewise, those who are still pulled by thoughts not aimed at awakening will not absorb the profound teachings of the Dharma, no matter how wondrous. So let us live more slowly. Let us breathe more deeply. Let us do something truly sincere. Don't keep thinking if it doesn't bring us closer to awareness. Don't dig too deep into a past that has already closed. Don't worry too far ahead into a future that hasn't come. Simply live fully in today. For today is the culmination of countless past causes and the seed we sow for tomorrow. If today is peaceful, then tomorrow will bring happiness. If today is mindful, tomorrow will bring insight. And if today we live with the full awareness of a child of the Buddha, then even if impermanence comes tomorrow, there will be nothing to regret. May each breath become a gateway that leads us back to our true selves. May our minds no longer drift through the fog of needless thoughts. May we, each day, choose to live in present peace, to know how to pause, how to breathe, how to let go,
so that this life is not wasted on illusions, and may all beings soon realize that living deeply is not about thinking more, but about being fully present in each living moment. That is the root of awakening and serenity. There are mornings with no sunlight, only gray clouds stretching across the sky. There are days when our hearts grow heavy, not because of anything great, but simply because we realize that life is not always as gentle as we wish it to be. Such is life. It never perfectly follows our will. There are things we try so hard for, yet the results still fall short. There are people we love with all our hearts, only to be met with pain. There are moments when faith is worn thin and hopes are extinguished. It may seem unfair, but if we look deeply, we will see that this is simply the natural nature of life: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and the truth that nothing belongs to us forever. In the scriptures, the Buddha taught that to be born as a human in this Saha world is to enter a realm filled with things contrary to our wishes and difficult to align with our desires. Not everyone will love us the way we wish. Not everything will go smoothly as we hope. Yet it is precisely in these situations of adversity that the practitioner has the chance to turn inward, to cultivate patience, to nurture compassion, and to give rise to wisdom. If life were always easy, we might become complacent, arrogant, and easily fall into attachment and craving. But adversity, when seen correctly, is a great teacher, silent yet profoundly transformative. Everyone carries their own suffering. Some suffer due to illness, some due to broken relationships, some because they cannot attain what they long for, and some because they fear losing what they already have. Some feel lonely even amidst a crowd. Others feel misunderstood within their own families. No one is perfect. No one passes through life without failures, mistakes, or losses. So if at some point you feel uncertain or adrift, please do not rush to blame life or envy others. Remember that behind every smile might lie scars that once bled. And if you find yourself in pain, it only means that you are living truthfully within the ever-changing stream of life. When facing an obstacle, the first thing to do is pause, stay calm, and observe. Don't rush into sadness, blame, or escapism. Sit down like a meditator in the midst of an earthquake. Breathe in, knowing you are here. Breathe out, knowing you are still whole. When the mind is chaotic, do nothing. When the heart is angry, say nothing. Only when the mind has settled will wisdom arise. And when wisdom shines through, we will realize that the obstacle did not come to harm us, but to remind us to return to ourselves, to our breath, to the path we have chosen, to the original aspiration of our heart. No failure is meaningless if we can learn something from it. A closed door may be guiding us to a more suitable path. A person's departure may make space for a new and more mindful connection. A fall may teach us to rise stronger and more humble. A practitioner does not see failure as an end, but as the beginning of a deeper spiritual journey. No one walks the spiritual path without being wounded.
But it is precisely through those wounds that true compassion arises. Sometimes we must keep walking while healing ourselves. No one can completely heal another. Each person must walk their own path, recognize their own truths, and traverse their own terrain of thorns and stones. There are days when we smile outwardly while still bleeding inside. There are mornings when we sit in meditation with tears falling for reasons we cannot name. But still we sit, still we breathe, still we listen, still we continue our practice, because we understand that if we stop, we will lose the chance to grow spiritually. A person with a spiritual heart is not someone who does not suffer, but someone who knows how to transform suffering into the foundation of wisdom. They do not use suffering to justify despair, but use suffering to remind themselves to live more deeply, more compassionately, more freely. Some things that seem like losses are actually clearing the way for awakening. Some people who seem to come only to hurt us are actually helping us recognize the unhealed parts of ourselves. As long as we can preserve a heart free from hatred, free from blame, and unwavering in faith toward the path, then everything that comes, even the most unpleasant, can be transformed into a vehicle for enlightenment. Being strong does not mean never falling, but being able to rise again after every fall. Being strong means being able to smile even when the heart still bears its scars. It means being able to forgive even when the other has not apologized. Being able to let go even when the heart still lingers. Strength is when we choose compassion over revenge, silence over harsh words, and kindness over bitterness, even after being betrayed or belittled. Each of these choices is a step forward on the path of liberation. A practitioner does not pray for a life without suffering, but for the strength to walk through suffering without being drowned in it. They do not ask for a life without adversity, but for the wisdom to see that adversity can also be a helpful companion on the path. They do not hope for everything to go their way, but learn to go with the way of the Dharma, the flow of causes and conditions. They understand that what comes, comes, and what goes, goes, so long as the mind remains unmoved. And if the mind is shaken, they know how to return, to be still, to reignite mindfulness. There is no path to peace that does not pass through trial.
No practitioner has ever awakened without having been shaken, doubted, or wounded. But each time they rise again, the light within grows a little brighter. Each pain deepens their compassion. Each letting go lightens their heart. In the end, peace is not found by making the world less turbulent, but by no longer needing to resist the waves. May you be strong enough to walk through the dissonance of life without losing your faith. May you be compassionate enough to forgive those who've hurt you, wise enough to see the lesson in every failure, and humble enough to keep walking, healing as you go. May all beings learn the patience of the earth, which endures tilling without complaint, and silently nourishes the seeds of life. And may you, every day, rain or shine, ease or hardship, always return to the breath, to yourself, to the chosen path of mindfulness, compassion, and liberation. On a quiet afternoon, as the last light of day filters gently through the leaves, someone sits silently on the porch and suddenly realizes that time is flowing by like the river beneath the bridge, each second and minute slipping away in stillness and without warning.
Within that stream, countless precious things are quietly drifting from our grasp without us even noticing. Life does not wait for anyone. The ones we love will not stay forever. When things are present, we take them for granted. Only when they're gone do we realize that some moments, some people, cannot be found a second time. Life is a miracle. To wake up, to breathe, to see our loved ones around us. These are rare and precious gifts that not everyone has. Yet we are often too busy to notice. Busy with work, with plans, with distractions. We live among our loved ones, yet our minds chase faraway dreams. Weeks go by without asking our Father how He's doing. Months pass without truly noticing the warmth in our mother's smile. Years slip away without sitting down for a full meal with the family. And then one day, when the chair at the table is empty, when our call is met with silence, we cry out in regret. But by then, time has already closed the door of the present. In the teachings of the Buddha, filial piety is one of the noblest forms of practice. The Buddha emphasized that caring for our parents is a great merit that can transform even heavy karma and illuminate the Bodhi mind. For our parents were the first to bring us into this life, to bear immense pain so that we might grow day by day. No one loves us so deeply, no one sacrifices so silently. Yet how many of us remember that with each passing day, our parents are aging, their strength waning, their hair graying. Our loved ones cannot stay with us forever. We cannot hold on to them beyond the span of a lifetime. The only thing we can do is cherish every moment, being close, seeing, listening, caring. Countless people have cried at funerals, not because death came too suddenly, but because of the deep regret of not having lived fully with the departed, not having said thank you, not having apologized for harsh words, not having taken one last walk together through the village, not having... And then the words left unspoken continue to haunt us, weighing heavily on the heart as the years go by. Yet regret cannot bring anyone back. Only mindfulness in the present moment can transform the pain of what was never said into peace.
family, friendship, and heartfelt connections are all sacred bonds in this vast ocean of existence. To meet is a matter of karmic connection, and to stay together is a matter of blessings. Not everyone we love will stay, and not everyone who loves us will always understand our hearts. Some pass through our lives lightly, but leave deep imprints in our memory. Others once promised forever, yet one day became strangers. That is why we should not wait until loss to cherish, should not wait until separation to realize that love is the most sacred gift in this ever-changing human world. Each loved one is a mirror reflecting us back to ourselves. Parents are the roots, siblings are the branches, and friends are the sun and rain that nourish our growth. Without them, we would not grow whole. Without the stumbles within relationships, we would not mature. So even if love sometimes feels incomplete, please do not let go. Learn to be patient, to listen, to take one step toward each other instead of waiting for the other to change. A Buddhist practitioner does not only keep precepts with the world, but also with loved ones, through kindness in every word, gesture, and thought. There are simple meals with our mother we will never forget. There are moments when our father walked through the rain just to bring us a warm coat. There are friends who do not need many words, but always appear when we are most fragile. And there are those who hurt us, but in the end teach us profound lessons in forgiveness. All of these are the countless threads weaving the fabric of our life. If we erase a relationship due to differences or misunderstandings, it is like cutting away a wholesome root within us. Amidst the swift current of modern life, let us learn to slow down, to look deeply into each other's eyes, to hold hands without rushing, to sit together without needing to say much.
Let us say loving words while we still can. Forgive while we still have each other. Check in before hearts grow cold. Remember, sometimes a single message, a phone call, a bowl of rice, or a hug can become a memory that supports us for a lifetime. The awakened do not seek enlightenment far away, but in the very relationships they have. The truly mindful are those who bow to their parents with heartfelt reverence, who remain silent when a loved one is angry, who listen even when they disagree. The enlightened do not only chant in front of the altar, but also chant through eyes of compassion, through gentle laughter, through acts of forbearance in daily life. When we live like this, our days are no longer repetitive. They become blooming Dharma flowers within the heart of the family. May you learn to see your loved ones with awakened eyes. May you treasure every meal when all are still present. May you let go of blame to preserve collective joy. May you not live in waste, not wait until nothing remained to regret what once was. May you live each day, each minute, as if it were the last time you are together, so that love becomes the ground in which your spiritual path grows, so that every home becomes a monastery, and every step within the family is a step on the path to awakening. Amid the noise and turbulence of life, not everyone knows how to stop and listen to the silence within. Often, what wears us down is not the outer storms, but the inner inability to let go of what's already past, to release those who have already left, to dissolve the pain that should have long been healed. Holding tightly to something in the heart is sometimes no different from clutching a burning coal. The longer one holds on, the more the heart burns itself. And yet, strangely, humans cling so easily to the past, to pride, to a compliment, a glance, a memory, a promise, an unhealthy relationship. And it is this very clinging that disturbs the heart's peace, making each step through life feel as though carrying a mountain. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering lies in attachment. Wherever there is clinging, there is affliction. And this clinging is not only to material things or power, it arises from the mind itself, clinging to a false word, to someone who once hurt us, to expectations others place on our shoulders. All of this, when not released, becomes a burden growing heavier each day. Some live in abundance yet feel suffocated simply because they're holding on to an old story. Some succeed in the world but cannot sleep peacefully because their mind has never let go of a deep resentment. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is not apathy or indifference. Letting go is the act of one with wisdom, who has seen clearly that what does not belong to us only brings suffering if we continue to grasp it. It is understanding the truth of impermanence, that all things arise and pass, come and go, join and part, love and separate, live and die. Nothing lasts forever. No one stays forever, and no pain endures forever unless we keep it alive in our mind. A practitioner is someone who learns to observe their own mind. When anger arises due to a harsh word, pause and ask, is it true? If it is true, we should be grateful for someone showing us what we have yet to improve. If it is false, why suffer over something untrue? Praise and blame are like the wind. Those who admire us today may turn away tomorrow. If our mind is tossed about by each breeze, we'll never find peace. We are not born to please everyone. We are born to live in accord with the Dharma, with our innately pure nature. Similarly, forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is the strength to deny others the power to harm us again in our consciousness. It is the compassion to see that they too are blinded by ignorance, suffering within their actions toward us.
Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, but no longer resenting, no longer desiring revenge, no longer being bound by negative emotions when memories return. Only then are we truly free. One who does not know how to let go is like a traveler carrying too many bags. Each step grows heavier, each burden more exhausting, until collapse. Meanwhile, others travel lightly, carrying only peace and mindfulness. Wherever they go, they are at ease. Letting go is not loss. Letting go is stepping back for a clearer, broader view. From the mountaintop, everything looks smaller. What once caused deep pain now seems less significant. From the stillness of meditation, even those who caused us harm appear as sentient beings adrift in samsara, more pitiful than blameworthy. Living in the world, we cannot avoid being misunderstood, insulted, deceived, or abandoned. But if we let our hearts drown in resentment, it is like drinking poison, hoping the other will suffer. Yet we are the ones harmed first. So each day, give yourself a moment to pause, to release a little anger, a little craving, a little grief. Day by day, the heart will lighten. And one day, when you meet the one who once hurt you, your heart will no longer tremble, your eyes will no longer burn, and your lips will smile sincerely. That is when you know you have let go. A Buddhist does not escape into solitude to avoid life, but walks through the world, encountering all things, and still maintains a peaceful heart. They are someone who meets adversity without rage, meets success without pride, hears praise without overjoy, hears criticism without prolonged sorrow. They pass through suffering without passing it on to others. They face their own darkness and light a lamp of mindfulness within it. Some people carry heavy hearts, not because life burdens them more, but because they refuse to put down what should be released. The longer you hold, the deeper the hurt. The more we torment ourselves, the more energy we lose. Meanwhile, letting go takes nothing away from us. On the contrary, to let go at the right time in the right way is the first step toward returning to peace. Like a leaf that doesn't resist the wind but flows along the current. Like a drop of dew that doesn't cling to the sunlight but dissolves gently when morning breaks. Naturally, without complaint, without regret. May I, each day, learn to lay down one thing that disturbs my heart. May I have the wisdom to release at the right moment, the compassion to forgive, and the humility to recognize that no one is perfect, not even myself. May I remember that peace doesn't come from outside, but from ceasing to control, to cling, to replay the same stories in my mind. May I learn the art of letting go like the wind, light yet powerful enough to move even the heaviest burdens within. There are moments, so small in a day, yet capable of shifting an entire relationship, even a whole lifetime. A single word, a glance, a gesture spoken in anger can fracture a loving heart, shatter trust, and tear apart the warmth of a home. Human emotion is a field both fertile and dangerous. If not nurtured by mindfulness and awareness, it becomes the soil for seeds of hatred, selfishness, and greed. But when cared for with wisdom and compassion, emotion becomes a gateway to deep understanding of ourselves, of others, and of how to walk gently through this life. Anger is instinctual, but self-mastery is strength. It is not about suppression, but clear comprehension of the roots of feeling. It is recognizing the fire of rage as it arises and not becoming it, knowing that one is angry without allowing anger to dictate words or actions. Like a sailor aware of the stormy sea, but keeping the boat steady, a practitioner steadies their inner vessel amidst emotional waves, not allowing a moment of fury to destroy years of harmony.
The Buddha taught that no flame burns fiercer than the fire of anger. It can consume all merit, all love, even the purest state of inner peace. One may practice morality, concentration, and wisdom, but without patience and loving kindness to quell the fire within, it is like carrying a spark next to a barn of dry grain. One careless moment can set the whole storehouse ablaze. Thus, a practitioner must always be mindful of their emotions, especially in times of inner unrest. Sorrow, anger, blame, resentment, jealousy, these are all profoundly human states. We do not deny their existence, but we must learn not to be swept away by them. When anger arises, don't react. Pause. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Return the mind to the body. Look deeply into the anger. Ask where it comes from. Is it an old wound, a failed expectation, a bruised ego? When we understand its root, anger dissolves like morning mist under sunlight. But if we blame others or unleash it outwardly, then what follows is regret, remorse, and heartache that may never fully heal. Sadly, we often direct anger more easily at loved ones than strangers. We endure outsiders, but lash out at parents, partners, children, believing they will forgive, understand, and stay. Yet those closest are also the most deeply hurt when we lose control. Words spoken in anger are like knives. Even when the blade is withdrawn, the wound remains. And some words leave scars that last a lifetime.
not because they're cruel, but because they were spoken by someone deeply loved and trusted. Mastering emotions is not a one-day task. That is a continuous path of cultivation. It is returning each day to observe our own mind, to see the moments when it becomes stirred, the moments when anger begins to rise. It is knowing to hold the tongue when on the verge of saying something in anger, to pause the hand before acting on impulse. It is sitting down after a burst of temper to admit fault, to say sorry, and to learn from our mistakes. A practitioner is not someone who never gets angry, but someone who knows to return and correct themselves after anger, someone who does not repeat the same mistakes. Remember that emotions are not enemies, they are mirrors reflecting our inner world. When emotion arises, see it as an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. If you feel uneasy, look inward to find what is wounded. If you feel jealous, ask what you think is missing. If anger arises, return to your breath, to your precepts, to your original vow. Every emotion is a bell reminding you to come back to the path of awakening. One who can master emotion is one who can master themselves, not driven by circumstances, not swayed by praise or blame, gain or loss. They can walk through storms with peace in their heart, live among gossip without being moved, face those who once hurt them with eyes full of compassion. And that is the image of a true practitioner, not defined by robes or chanting, but by their ability to govern the mind, to hold inner strength amidst the collisions of life. May I have enough mindfulness each day to look deeply into my emotions. May I have enough compassion not to hurt others just because my heart is unsettled. May I learn the patience of the earth, unaffected by words or actions that might otherwise stir waves in my mind. May my words be light as clouds, my gaze gentle as sunlight, so that wherever I go, I sow peace, and with whomever I live, I nurture trust and love. Amid the blinding lights and shouts of the world about success, fame, and competition, there are still souls who choose to live quietly, humbly, and virtuously. They do not flaunt, do not scramble, yet their presence is like a cool breeze to the weary. Not because they cannot live like the crowd, but because they have walked enough shaky paths to know that the true value of a person does not lie in what others see, but in what only they themselves can feel. That is inner peace, an untainted mind, a gentle, loving, modest character that feels full within. Self-cultivation is not lofty. It lies in the small acts of daily life, in each thought, word, and deed. It is when we face hardship without complaint, feel envy without bitterness, meet the wicked and still preserve goodness. It is being able to live quietly amid noise and not lose oneself. One with deep cultivation does not need to speak much of themselves, for their presence is already the clearest testament to their character.
Some think that living virtuously is weakness, submission, or loss. But in truth, it is the harder, nobler path. To dare live kindly in a world of deceit, to keep a pure heart in a place full of pretenses. and that is not for the weak, but for those with spiritual courage. The virtuous do not live well out of fear of karma, but because they truly do not wish to harm anyone, not even those who have hurt them. That kind of goodness comes from compassion, not fear. Humility is also a sign of wisdom. A true learner never boasts about what they know. The more they study, the more they realize how small they are before the vastness of the universe. The wise are always humble. The arrogant drive themselves away from the path. Humility is not self-deprecation, but the lowering of ego to receive something deeper. It is knowing that no one is forever above or below. All will, at some point, need the compassion of another. The humble earn goodwill wherever they go. Their words are soft but profound. Their actions simple yet transformative. Contentment is a hard practice in an age where greed grows by the day. To be content does not mean giving up effort, but not chasing endless satisfaction. It means knowing when to stop, being happy with what is present, and cherishing the current moment. The content never feel poor, even in modest conditions. The discontented always feel lacking, even amidst luxury. Some live simply but are perfectly happy, while others have piles of gold and still feel misery. The difference lies not in possessions, but in the heart. In the digital age, people easily fall into the trap of showcasing, sharing joys, flaunting achievements, comparing happiness. As time passes, many no longer live for themselves, but for the gaze of others. And from there arises the urge to compete. The seeds of comparison and jealousy take root. Those who cultivate themselves do not allow such currents to sweep them away. They choose to live quietly, but with depth. They do not need to display happiness outwardly because they truly feel it within. They do not seek others' recognition because they are firmly rooted in the values they follow. One who lives sincerely keeps their heart clear like a mountain spring, speaking truthfully, living authentically, thinking with clarity, and wearing no masks to please the world. They are direct but not rude, firm but not rigid, gentle but not weak, humble but never losing their stance. Their sincerity offers others a sense of safety, trust, and healing. And sometimes just one genuine person by your side is enough to make you feel there is still hope in this world. Self-cultivation is not just for those who go to temples, wear gray robes, or chant sutras nightly. It is for everyone, everywhere. Each time we forgive someone, it is a step in cultivation. Each time we rise above gossip, our mind is purified. Each time we choose silence over argument, our wisdom grows. Each time we accept fault instead of placing blame, our ego is softened. Every small action, if done with mindfulness, becomes a step on the path of liberation. Live like a river. Flow through life without leaving scars. Live like the earth, supporting all without asking anything in return. Live like a small lamp, quietly illuminating a dark corner without needing applause. For in the end, those who live with kindness, humility, and sincerity will always leave behind a fragrance in life, even when their body is no longer here. May I nourish the seeds of goodness within me each day. May I never lose humility
no matter where I stand in life.
May I know what is enough, so as not to lose my way. May I remain simple, so peace stays within. May I live sincerely with all, so no one is saddened by remembering me, and no one is hurt by my presence in their life. Somewhere among once close relationships, there are those who have now become strangers, simply because of one moment of misunderstanding, one word left unlistened to, or one act that wounded the heart. The world is not short of separations born from the silence of empathy, and many have lost each other simply because they clung too tightly to ego and forgot how to open their heart to let others in. Human relationships have never been easy lessons, yet they are lessons we must all learn throughout life, with our hearts, through deep listening and boundless compassion. Those who live skillfully are those who place themselves in others' shoes before they speak or act. Not everyone thinks the same, has the same circumstances, expresses themselves similarly, or feels with equal sensitivity. Something trivial to you may be a deep wound to someone else. What you see as a joke might cut deeply into another's heart. Hence, a person with a mindful heart is one who remains aware in speech and action, not out of fear of upsetting others, but because they do not wish to plant more suffering in an already imperfect world. Relationships last not because of sweet words, but because of sincerity and care. Someone who speaks well may not live well, but one who truly listens always has the Dhamma in their heart. For listening is an expression of compassion, listening to understand, to empathize, to lower one's ego and open to a world beyond the self. When we understand others, we become kinder, less judgmental, more forgiving. And when the heart is full of compassion, no one is a stranger, no one is unworthy of care, and all relationships have a chance to be healed. Everyone carries within them an untold story, an unhealed wound, a sorrow never shared. So do not judge anyone based on a single act or moment. Maybe they are just tired. Maybe they are fighting something inside we do not see. Let us learn to look at each other with compassionate eyes, not critical ones. Let us recognize the good in others, rather than pick apart their flaws. Some people may be lifted for an entire day by a sincere compliment. Others may carry sadness for years because of a thoughtless criticism. As students of the Buddha, we must practice mindfulness in our communication. Every word must be filtered through compassion. Every action must reflect inner peace. Every relationship, whether close or distant, is a precious karmic connection to be cherished. There are those we meet only once, yet they leave a lasting impression because of the way they listen, the kindness in their eyes, or the simple beauty of their presence. And there are those who stay in our lives for years, yet never truly draw close, because they're always measuring, calculating, clinging to every small grievance. If we seek meaningful connections, we must first be the one who sows wholesome seeds. If we wish to be respected, we must first know humility. If we yearn for love, we must first be genuine from the heart. Through the journey of life, there will be times when we are misunderstood, treated unfairly, forgotten despite our sincerity. But even these are teachings that remind us every bond must be nurtured daily with care. No one can truly understand another unless they want to. No one can remain good to us if our own heart is closed. Love, friendship, kinship, these are delicate petals. Without gentle hands, they fall away easily.
The wise will not let precious things slip away in regret. One with the path will know when to admit fault and offer apology, not out of weakness, but out of deep respect for what is sacred. Cherish those who once helped you, even in the smallest way. Remember the kindness more than the hurt, for when the heart leans toward goodness, life feels lighter. And when we search for the light in others, we are also illuminating our own hearts. Acknowledging another's virtue does not diminish us. Rather, it enlarges our heart, warms theirs, and eases the bond between. The world is full of talented people, but what it needs more are those who can praise sincerely, who can receive goodwill gracefully, and who can nourish gratitude within. Sometimes, peace is best kept with silence, not the silence of suppression, but the silence of wisdom, not avoidance, but patient forbearance. Some arguments, if continued, will only breed hurt. Some truths, if spoken, will wound unnecessarily. Sometimes saying less is what sustains a relationship the longest. When we understand that winning in words matters less than keeping peace in one another's hearts, we naturally lose the desire to be right. Skillful living isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about not causing harm to anyone. It means never stepping on another's dignity to elevate ourselves. Never using blunt honesty as an excuse to speak harshly. Never hiding behind good intentions to invade someone's personal space. One who cultivates the path brings ease wherever they go, uplifts whomever they meet, and carries the light of compassion in every interaction. May I, each day, reflect inwardly so as not to hurt others through carelessness. May I protect the bonds I have like lotus petals swaying in the wind. May I bring mindfulness and loving kindness into each relationship. May I, even when others treat me unkindly, keep a gentle gaze and a heart free of resentment. May I not be more skilled than others, but simply someone others feel safe beside. In a world constantly in motion, where people race toward success, status, and instant results, patience becomes a rare yet priceless virtue. The wise do not chase speed, but choose steady ground. Those on the path do not measure by failure or fame, but use patience as the foundation for inner evolution. For on any journey, there will be headwinds, foggy paths, and uncertain turns. Without patience, no footstep endures the long road. Some only see others' success, but not the years of silent effort beneath it. Some flowers bloom late, but their fragrance and endurance surpass all. The world often praises the victor, but the awakened bow to those who never give up. No one journeys through this life without stumbling. No one walks the spiritual path without faltering at least once. The difference lies in whether one rises again or gives in. Even the Buddha struggled, experimented, persisted through countless hardships before attaining perfect awakening. Austerities, temptations, both inner and outer hindrances, all were tests the enlightened must endure. Thus, students of the Dharma should not fear hardship, failure, misunderstanding, or challenge. Each is a fire that tempers the heart. Like steel forged in flame, the hotter the fire, the stronger the blade.
No pain is meaningless when it becomes the soil for growth. Perseverance is not stubbornness. The stubborn move forward without seeing the path, while the persevering walk with awareness, observing, adjusting, and anchoring their mind with unwavering resolve. It is the quiet resilience from within, an unshakable trust in the path one has chosen, a silent devotion to an ideal life without needing praise or recognition from others. The one who perseveres does not compare speed nor worry about how far others have gone, only knows that each step is meaningful. There are those who dedicate an entire lifetime to a single vow, a pure aspiration, a beautiful ideal. They embrace hardship, let go of fleeting pleasures, and patiently sow seeds upon barren land. To outsiders, they may seem foolish, but in truth, they are the happiest of all, for they live sincerely, without regret, with clarity and steadfastness. And if sweet fruits come, they are well earned, rewards for not giving up, for not doubting oneself, for not chasing after immediate results. The spiritual path is the same. Not every moment brings inner peace. Not every day reveals deep Dharma. There are times when chanting feels distracted, times when meditation feels restless. Yet what matters is the returning, not abandoning the precepts, not dropping mindfulness, not making excuses for laziness. Even a little effort each day brings us closer to the shore of awakening, like gentle rain soaking the earth, silent yet lasting, and that steady flow yields the most stable transformation. Those without perseverance are easily swayed by circumstances, discouraged by hardship, disheartened by others' success, overwhelmed by trials. And so, though they may have talent and resources, they do not travel far. Meanwhile, the patient, even if they start late, even if they stumble, will still arrive if they hold their ground like a mountain. Thus, what determines the outcome is not where we begin, but whether we keep going. No one wins at the start. True victory lies in the final stretch. Perseverance is also an expression of faith in karma, knowing that a seed not yet sprouting is not a waste, knowing that kindness unrewarded is not failure, knowing that beauty takes time to bloom. The one who understands Dharma does not demand instant results. They trust that every wholesome act, however small, is transforming their karma. They are unmoved by praise or blame, success or delay. They simply nurture without attachment. Sometimes, midway through the journey, the heart grows weary. One loses faith, loses drive, loses direction. In those moments, remember why you began. Sit still,
breathe deeply. Return to the breath, the body, the heart, the original vow. Reread a sacred verse. Recall a teacher's wisdom. Think of those who once inspired you, and the light will return. As long as you don't give up, there is still hope. Don't think that the persevering never tire. They do, just like anyone else. But they have a refuge in faith, a direction in Dharma, and nourishment in gratitude and purpose. And so, they go further than expected, overcome more than imagined, remain firm even when all else collapses. In the end, they are the ones who smile most serenely, not because they walked fastest, but because they walked fully.
May I always carry the virtue of perseverance in every situation. May I not retreat before hardship, nor give up when unrecognized, nor quit just because results have yet to appear. May I understand that each step forward brings me closer to awakening. May I build my path upon steadiness, rooted in the precepts, grounded in concentration, and illuminated with wisdom, so that every footstep on the path is steady and meaningful. Each being is born unique. No one is identical in body, mind, or karmic ties. Some are born into abundance, others into struggle. Yet in all conditions, one truth remains unchanged. Everyone must walk the journey of life with their own 2 feet. No one can live, think, or practice on another's behalf. And in the end, everyone will leave this world alone, just as they entered it alone, with no one walking alongside. Only by understanding this can we begin to learn how to live alone without feeling lonely, to live independently without resentment. Self-reliance is not about closing oneself off or rejecting love. It is about living proactively and steadily, without dependency, without expecting others to always be present or fulfill our desires. For in truth, people change, circumstances shift, and if our peace depends on external things, then when they vanish, our hearts will easily tremble. To live alone does not mean to live selfishly. On the contrary, when we know how to care for ourselves, we cease to be a burden to others. When we truly love ourselves, we can love others with greater depth. One who lives independently possesses inner strength. They do not complain when faced with misfortune, nor blame life when things go awry. They rise after each fall, quietly learning from their wounds, and move forward without needing anyone to soothe them. The path of spiritual practice is the same. No one can practice on another's behalf. People can study together, listen to the Dharma together, and meditate together, yet each must transform themselves. Every wholesome seed must be planted by one's own hand. Every moment of peace is the fruit of personal effort. The Buddha once said, "Be a lamp unto yourself. Be an island of refuge unto yourself." This was not a call for isolation, but a reminder that the spiritual path is not for those who seek to lean on others or escape. There will be times when life pushes us into solitude. No one understands us. No one is near. No one shares our pain. But if we can return to the refuge within, we will discover a sanctuary of serenity that no one can take away, a peaceful inner being. The stillness of the heart becomes the strongest shelter amidst storms. No one understands us better than ourselves. No one walks with us for a lifetime except our own consciousness. And when we learn to dwell peacefully in that space, even amid a crowded street, we will not feel alone. Those who learn to live alone gain great insight. They listen to their inner voice without being swayed by public opinion or social pressure. They come to love moments of stillness where silence brims with life. They experience the freedom of a heart unbound, no longer yearning for others to stay, to understand, or to rescue. They are like trees rooted deep, like mountains unmoved by changing winds or changing hearts.
Do not fear living alone, for it is the most honest mirror. When there's no one left to talk to, we learn to converse with ourselves. When there's no one to lean on, we learn to rely on our own inner strength. And that is when we truly mature, not by age, but by understanding. We become less reactive to words, less saddened by abandonment, and less shattered by the end of a relationship, because we realize we are enough to keep going, even on our own. The self-reliant also know how to appreciate what they have. They don't waste energy on complaints or comparisons. They are grateful for every small thing: a glass of water, a bowl of rice, a healthy day. And that gratitude makes them stronger, deeper, and more joyful. Such people, if they find companionship, do not cling or control. And if they don't, they remain peaceful, never feeling adrift. That is true freedom. Self-reliance is not the same as loneliness. The lonely cannot see their own worth and constantly seek affirmation. The self-reliant see themselves as already whole, and once we feel whole, others' presence becomes a joy, not a condition for living. When we have, we cherish. When we lose, we let go gently. Only such a person can truly live peacefully in this ever-changing world. May I become stronger in every step of my self-powered journey. May I know how to love myself rightly, so that I do not need anyone else to validate my worth. May I not fear the silences, for within them lie truths waiting to be heard. May I always know how to take refuge in myself, never lost in worldly cravings or swallowed by passing loneliness. May I know that beyond every silence, I will meet myself again, smiling deeply from within. Amid the endless noise of life, amid countless standards measuring human value, there are still souls who choose to live quietly, sincerely, and meaningfully. They do not boast, do not compete, do not strive to become someone else's ideal. They simply live according to dharma, with a pure heart and a simple soul. And it is precisely this simplicity that makes them precious, like a small lamp lighting the darkness, like a lotus rising from the mud unstained. To live sincerely is to live in alignment with our inner being, without wearing masks to please others, without saying one thing and doing another, without using flowery words to conceal hidden calculations. A sincere person does not need many words, for their eyes, their smile, their way of listening and being present are enough to warm the hearts of others. They do not try to convince anyone to understand them, nor seek recognition, because they know
that sincerity is meant to dwell peacefully within, not to be displayed. Many people mistakenly believe that to live well means to be perfect, but in truth, none of us are. Everyone has blind spots, everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is not to hide our flaws, but to face them, to correct them, and to be gentle with ourselves. Living meaningfully is not about how successful we are, but about how kindly we live.
A person may not be exceptionally talented, but if they live with kindness, love, and help others without calculation, then their life is already a beautiful gift to the world. One who lives meaningfully does not miss the present moment. They understand that life is not a race to the finish line, but a journey to be felt. They do not constantly chase a blurry future, nor let the past bind them. They live in the now with mindfulness. They see beauty in the ordinary, appreciating each meal, each bird's song, each encounter. They do not wait for loss to feel regret, because they live each day as if it were their last. Mindfulness helps us resist being swept away by the current of life, helps us not chase after hollow values. When the mind is awake, we are not pulled by praise or blame, gain or loss, winning or losing. We know what truly matters and what is merely illusion. And once awakened, we know how to live gently, kindly, without shame before our conscience. Whether life is short or long, without mindfulness, it is just meaningless time passing by. But when lived with awareness, every moment becomes a light that brightens our path and the path of others. Gratitude is a cornerstone of a meaningful life. Being grateful to those who taught us, helped us, even those who hurt us, for through them we have grown. Grateful for the smallest things, a grain of rice, a drop of water, the sunlight or rainy days. Gratitude need not be spoken. It is shown through how we live, more slowly, more kindly, less wastefully. A grateful person does not complain, does not blame, does not live only to demand. They receive everything as a gift and live in a way that honors that gift. Sincerity does not mean life is always smooth. We may be misunderstood, taken advantage of, or hurt. But do not let that change your nature. Others may deceive, but keep the truth in your heart. Others may cheat, but you do not need to become like them. Live so that at the end of the day, when you reflect, your heart feels peaceful and free of regret. That is what truly matters. And sometimes, just one person living sincerely is enough to inspire many others to be kind. Don't wait until you are wealthy, powerful, or recognized to live meaningfully. Everyone can live a life of value through the smallest things: a heartfelt question, a timely hand to hold, or simply being fully present with a loved one. All of these are the true expressions of a meaningful life.
And if everyone were to live this way, the world would be freed from much suffering, misunderstanding, and resentment. Those who live sincerely and meaningfully do not use their lives to prove anything, but simply strive to live in a way that causes no harm, no disappointment, and no lingering regret. They do not speak of morality through rigid doctrines, but express it through their actions, through the way they treat others with mindfulness and care. They live like a gentle breeze, like a flowing stream, not flashy, not loud, but when absent, their presence is deeply missed. May I always live true to my heart, not changing myself just to be liked. May I treasure every moment of existence, every person who comes into my life, and every chance to live meaningfully. May every morning be a moment of gratitude for still being able to breathe, to live, and to love. May I not need to become perfect, but always choose to live with kindness, compassion, mindfulness, and contentment. For every teaching of the Dharma, every contemplation on how to live ultimately serves one purpose: to help us return to ourselves, to live in accordance with the true path, with awareness and loving kindness. In a world full of impermanence and upheaval, if each person learns to reflect inward and quietly cultivate themselves day by day, then even without becoming saints, we can still become kind, wholesome, and peaceful beings among humanity. None of us are perfect. We've all made mistakes, given up at times, been wounded, and hurt others. But the Dharma doesn't demand us to be superhuman. It teaches us to humbly recognize our missteps, to transform unwholesome thoughts, and to plant wholesome seeds in each present moment. As long as we have the intention to do good, no path is ever too slow or too late. As long as we take a step forward each day, no matter how small, we are still moving toward the light. Life never lacks unpleasant events, failures, loneliness, or times when we feel lost. But these are also the moments that invite us to turn inward, to listen deeply to ourselves, to realize that peace does not come from outside, but from an undisturbed heart, a mind free from clinging, and clarity free from chaos. And the one who walks through those storms with perseverance, sincerity, humility, and contentment is like a small torch in the night, a blooming lotus in the mud. Living in this world, the most precious thing is not how many people praise us, but how many feel at peace in our presence. Not the status we attain, but the purity we preserve amidst worldly dust. Not how long we live, but how we live. If we can live without hurting anyone, without betraying ourselves, without losing compassion and wisdom, then such a life is already a living scripture. May all of us, after these reflections, walk more firmly on the spiritual path, not wishing to become anyone else, only wishing to live each day in alignment with our truest heart. May each person be a lamp, however small, that lights their own way and warms the hearts of those who pass by. In this way, even a simple life becomes a blooming flower in the garden of humanity.